May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's especially important during these difficult times. One teenager is working to help other young people who have brothers and sisters struggling with mental health concerns. Joining us live right now is Jessica Goldberg, the president and founder of Sib4Sib. Thank you so much for being here this morning, Jessica.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell me a little bit about Sib4Sib.
Yeah, Sib4Sib is a support network for individuals ages 6 to 18 who have a sibling that is neurodiverse or struggles with mental health.
And how old were you when you came up with this idea?
I was 15 and a freshman in high school about 3.5 years ago when I started Sib4Sib.
And how did you come up with this idea and this need for something where if your sibling is struggling with mental health, how this affects you?
Yeah, I've been very active in the mental health community for quite a few years, and I noticed that there's really no support for siblings, and they're often overlooked in this challenging dynamic. So I decided to take it into my own hands and start a support network for them.
And this support network obviously looks much different during this pandemic right now. So tell me how things have changed for Sib4Sib.
Right. So during the pandemic, we've taken all of our support groups online. And while this is a little bit different than our normal groups that are in person, it's allowed us to make Sib4Sib more accessible to anyone all over the country. And we're openly enrolling because people that might not have needed Sib4Sib before because they weren't around their sibling with challenges that much, now that we're all social distancing at home, it can be a little bit more of a challenging dynamic. So we've taken all of our groups online and opened it up for anyone to register.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you made, Jessica. We're all around our families a lot more these days. So tell me a little bit about how exactly that session works.
Yeah, so individuals are grouped by age, either 6 to 8, 8 to 11, or 12 to 18. And the groups are facilitated by a licensed mental health professional that specializes in that age group. So groups will look a little bit different for each age range to make sure that it's developmentally appropriate, but it's always confidential and centered around the participants' needs. I can give you an example of an activity that was done in the junior group for ages 8 to 11 last week. Because they have to source their materials from home, we made sure it was something easy to find. So all they had to find was something soft and something hard. So we chose to use Play-Doh and a rock. So when you hold the Play-Doh in your hand, what does it do? How does it feel? Play-Doh is something you can control and manipulate the shape of, but a rock isn't something you can control. And then we continue to talk about what are things you can control during this pandemic and what are things you can't control during this pandemic. And then of course, bringing it all together with the family dynamics and involving the sibling who has challenges.
All right, thanks so much, Jessica, for joining us this morning. You can get more information on Sib4Sib.org. And Jessica, congratulations. We hear you are graduating high school this year.
I am.
Thanks so much for joining us
Thank
this
you.
morning. All right, time now is